Good afternoon. This is Janet McElligott in Los Angeles. And I wanted to discuss something that is somewhat baffling to any thinking human. Why is the world ignoring Sudan, which is the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet, and maybe one of the worst in history that we know of, or at least in modern history? Part of it is messaging. In this world where communication is, I'll call it flattened, each person has access to a phone, to the internet, to TikTok and Facebook and Insta. But governments still must pay attention to modern media. When I say part of the problem is messaging, many wars are actually fought on the field of public relations before a single bullet's fired. And the Sudanese are a very proud people. For the last 2 years, they have fought this very uncivil war by themselves. And they have faced as many as 17 different countries and people coming in, and I'm sure the number has increased since then. Right now, the humanitarian crisis is staggering. It's very difficult to even wrap your mind around it. 25 million people, let that sink in for a minute. 25 million people face starvation. Over 10 million, maybe as many as 12 million, have left the country because of instability and war. Many are in Egypt, some in Ethiopia. Who knows where the others have gone. And now you have a cholera epidemic. And you have a cholera epidemic in Sudan to pile on top of food insecurity because the Rapid Support Forces, a terrorist organization, made sure that they got rid of all electricity in these towns and cities, including the capital. They destroyed the delivery of water. So that is why cholera is existing. And in about a month's time, the rainy season is coming. There's hardly a roof over the head of these people. And in Washington, D.C., I'm ashamed to say President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have said, well, you know, there's not a single death that has arisen because USAID isn't working. Well, I call bullshit on that. Because you are going to have tens of thousands of deaths. Because in addition to the cholera, the United States, in my opinion, has erroneously tacked sanctions on to the Sudanese because they said they used chlorine gas, chemical weapons, in the war a year ago. And yet not one photograph has arisen that shows proof of this. I would call on the Sudanese government to immediately request a United Nations investigation. This happened to the Sudan in 1998 when the United States bombed Al-Shifa Pharmaceutical after losing the 2 embassies, American embassies, one in Dar es Salaam and the other in Kenya. And lo and behold, what happened? They found that this was false information. I'm telling you, the Sudanese opposition, the terrorist group called the RSF, which is sponsored by the United Arab Emirates, is doing the same thing. It's the same playbook. So you go out and you request a UN investigation immediately. And you can't just say, please, everybody should come and look for themselves. No one's going to do that. You need to demand that this investigation be done. You need to demand that the United States shows evidence to the world, not just willy-nilly slap sanctions on people facing cholera, starvation, and no roof over your head. That doesn't help anything. And I'm going to give a warning to the entire Western world who has ignored these people. We will come to regret it. This is how problems begin. Because the Sudanese have fought this war on their own without our help. And they have fought endless deep pockets. And who has stood beside them teenage boys who took up guns, doctors like Dr. Hanadi in Darfur, who took up a kitchen knife to go after those who were trying to rape and kill others in Darfur. These are average citizens, civilians, who went out to protect themselves with no one to help them. And that kind of horrific, horrible type of situations means these youth can easily be radicalized. Instead of building their country, their towns, their cities, we're helping radicalization. And last time, that resulted in terrorist attacks and people holding up the United States and saying, you don't care. President Trump, Secretary Rubio, we have to care. Thank you.